continuing on with this so-called tradition,
Yes.
let's talk about ISN, learning life values through sport. And if you're wondering what's ISN, well, it's Institute Sukan Negara. So let's have a chat with our guests right here today, right? First of all, a warm welcome to the CEO of Institute Sukan Negara, ISN. That's Dr. Ramlan Abdul Aziz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
And of course, we have also with us Director of Research, Education and Innovation for Institute Sukan Negara, Dr. Villapandian. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you for joining us. Into the topic, maybe Dato, you can start off first. Can we share with us what is ISN exactly? What's the purpose of this body?
Well, not too long ago, somebody was asked on a program on RTM1, I think. Apa itu ISN?
ISN.
And they said Institute Seni Lukis Negara.
Ayuh.
You know, so that was how unknown we were.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
And it's not much better nowadays. But at the same time, the work has always been important. It's about combining all the various sciences, healthcare and all that
Yes.
in order for us to optimize the athlete's performance. Okay. And this is originally pitched to the elite high-performance athlete. But when we look at the whole issue of looking at the athlete per se,
Yes.
you know, when we work with 25 to 30-year-olds who have reached the pinnacle of their sport, we realize that there's so many gaps, you know, which could have been addressed much earlier
Yes.
in a way to really better optimize their achievements and performances. So then we started looking at the whole scenario as more of an ecosystem thing, right? Because there has to be a point where certain knowledge and, of course, practices and lifestyles could be maybe influenced better, or maybe even adjusted to better suit their desires to be, or their aspiration to be a world-class athlete. So then we started looking at which point an athlete in a developing phase will be amenable to good advice, good influence.
Okay.
And we decided that, of course, it's before puberty.
Oh.
Yes, it's easy, isn't it?
Yes.
Because after puberty, suddenly everything you say is right and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah, attitude changes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
So then we started looking at other things as well. Not only educating athletes in the three very important aspects that they have to do on a day-to-day basis. That means eating correctly. That means nutrition, yes.
Okay.
And then character development, the mental strength and all that through mental training, procedures and all that, psychology. He's an expert in psychology, so we'll talk about that in a while.
Okay.
And then we have the physical development. When do we start? Most of the time, our athletes are late starters. It's only around the time when they go past 13, 14, 15 years of age. And suddenly they become good enough to reach Sukma level, Sukan Malaysia. And then they have so many gaps to address. And then on top of that, they've got some injury issues that they've never addressed from the beginning.
Okay.
Which of course will stand in the way and even reduce the level of performance. So there in a nutshell, as an opening gambit.
Yeah, I see.
For that particular reason,
Okay.
ISN is not only emphasizing on elite athletes' performance, like looking into the sports sciences and sports medicine, but also we focus on the satellite centers. ISN has got a satellite centers where we encourage the awareness of sports science and sports medicine in a younger age, so that you can reduce the level of injury and all that when they go up to the elite level performance.
I see.
So we have got roughly around 11 satellite centers at this point of time in most of the states, and we are planning to have additional another 9 more states, 9 more centers actually. In fact, this coming Saturday, our YB minister is going to launch another satellite centers in Kelantan.
I see.
Kota
That's
Baru.
cool.
So that's an initiative towards encouraging our younger populations to get involved in sports and knows the importance of the sports science elements at the younger age.
Now, very briefly, let us cover the expansion plans of Institute Sukan Negara. What plans do you have for 2014?
Well, whatever expansion we're trying to address is simply because we look at the need, right? So we've already talked about looking at the sports ecosystem, and then there's a sports industry coming along as well. You see, So we've got 4 pillars. Firstly, service, which we've been doing for a long time, since the very beginning.
Okay.
From the outset, anyway.
Service.
You know, medical service, sports sciences service.
That's one of the division, is it?
Exactly.
Okay. And
So then we've got to address research as well, because we cannot be dependent on other people's projects, okay, to tell us what we should be knowing ourselves, discovering ourselves, you see.
Yes.
So we've got to strengthen on that part. And then we've got service, research, and then innovation and education, because simply we have to realize that we have to educate the industry, and with our colleagues from the universities, tertiary institutions of learning, and of course other parties, we can add the value of education in sport to really address not only the needs of sports performance per se, but also sports in its entirety.
Right.
All right? Because everybody have to be on the same page, at the same level, and addressing each other's needs.
Correct.
Okay. Then finally, standards. I feel that there are enough,
roadside sportsmen.
well, we really need to catch up on standards, simply
That's right.
because we really have to set standards of safety in sport, standards of event management, anything related to sport.
I see what you
think
mean.
that's where we can really address this matter and really make sure that sport, whenever we do anything in sport, we really try to get the best benefit, the maximum benefit, and reduce the risks involved. So this is something that has to happen. So we can do this either on our own or in partnership with other agencies or any other ministries, and even in the private sector. Okay, so that is what we're trying to look at. I mean, continuing on from what Dr. Vela mentioned about the satellite centers. Now, delivering education and cascading sports sciences down to the grassroots is a big challenge, right? But it's one thing that we are willing to make, simply because if we take the trouble to start education early on, then it contributes to changing lifestyles, giving them the right habits, and of course the life values as well.
Yes.
A lot of the problems we have in sport is not actually anything to do with sport. Sometimes it's just your lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, in the end of the day, you want to be champion, you have to live the life of a champion. If you don't do so, then where's the sense in that?
Good
That's
point.
right.
Good point.
Yeah.
So
Never
maybe-
thought about that before.
Maybe Dato' Vela Pandemi, you have something to share or convey to our fellow Malaysians who
Yeah.
are watching this, Doctor,
Before we let you
before
go.
we let you go.
Okay.
Just
1
talking
minute.
about, Dato was mentioning about lifestyle, like sports is a lifestyle. Looking into psychological perspective, a lot of people, out there, they know about the importance of the psychological components and interventions in developing the mental characteristic of the athletes. But they fail to understand that these psychological skills is a life skills. It cannot be nurtured among the athletes in
Yes.
one day or within a short period of time. It should prolong towards a longer period of time. That's why we have a we have designed and structured psychological program where our psychologists are playing an important role to deal with the athletes' emotional factors and all that.
I see.
In a longer run.
Okay.
So,
Okay. One sentence from CEO Institute Sukan Negara
Where
for
we,
conclusion's sake.
we're all mad people, We do things for very little personal returns. Okay, but what is the point of all this?
Yeah.
What is the point of chasing the medal? It's because for each medal that we win, any Malaysian wins, will inspire hundreds upon thousands of other Malaysians.
Oh, that's a good one,
Isn't
Dato'.
it? So
Yeah.
when you do that, what happens is that the value of sport extends beyond medal chasing.
Right.
Okay, it's about inspiring people to be active in their lives, to take up sport, and sport is good for national unity.
Right.
So it has value in health. So that means health indices will improve, social indices will improve, and we feel more united. So
Okay.
for every single ringgit that we spend in promoting sport, it has actually a value far more than that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
You're welcome.
very insightful.
Thank
and of
you.
course, that was the
Thank you.
learning life values through
Thank you.
sports with ISN.
It's so true, right?